In the introduction, I said these riddles aren't about finding easy answers, they're about understanding reality a little better. But there's another thread I want to follow through these questions: connection and creativity. How does one thing become another? How do possibilities become realities? And what responsibility comes with our growing ability to shape what happens next? To explore that, we need to start before creativity, before consciousness, before life itself, with the strangest beginning of all. Why is there something rather than nothing? I can't give you a final answer to this question. No one can. Not yet, and perhaps not ever. But that may be exactly why it's worth asking, because this one question takes us to the boundary between what science can describe, what philosophy can argue, and what faith may trust. And almost immediately, we encounter our first problem. Nothing isn't nearly as simple as it sounds. I'm a maker, a wood carver. So imagine a piece of wood sitting on my workbench. Take it away. Now remove the bench, the room, the earth. Remove space itself, and time. Keep going. No matter, no energy, no fields, no physical laws, no God, not even possibilities. Have we finally reached nothing? There's still a problem. We're imagining it. There's still an observer looking into the emptiness. And the moment I describe nothing as dark, I've given it a property. If I call it empty, I've given it space. If I say it lasts forever, I've given it time. Absolute nothingness would have none of those things. That doesn't prove nothingness is impossible. It reveals something stranger. We have difficulty even thinking about absolute nothing without quietly putting something back into it. More than 300 years ago, Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz pushed this puzzle further. He asked why there is something rather than nothing because he believed facts require sufficient reasons. Why this? Why now? Why this universe rather than another? And eventually, why existence at all? Leibniz concluded that the chain of explanations had to end somewhere, in something whose existence didn't depend upon anything else. He called that necessary reality God. It's a powerful argument, but it isn't science. And philosophers have been arguing about it ever since. Maybe reality doesn't require an explanation. Maybe existence is simply a brute fact. Reality exists, full stop. Or perhaps absolute nothingness was never genuinely possible. Then the surprising thing isn't that something exists, it's that we ever imagined nothing was the alternative. This is where cosmology is sometimes asked to answer a question it hasn't actually answered. You've probably heard some version of, "The Big Bang explains how something came from nothing." It doesn't. Modern cosmology gives us something extraordinary. Strong evidence tells us that the observable universe developed from an extremely hot, dense, early state, and has been expanding and cooling. The cosmic microwave background, the abundance of primordial light elements, together they give us a remarkable picture of our universe's early history. But they don't tell us why reality exists in the first place. And when physicists talk about universes emerging from a quantum vacuum, we need to be careful with the word nothing. A quantum vacuum isn't philosophical nothingness. There are fields, structure, physical rules, possibilities. Calling that nothing risks hiding the very mystery we're trying to investigate. Because I can still ask, why do those fields, rules, and possibilities exist? So where does God enter this for me? Not as a scientific answer, and not as another object somewhere beyond the galaxies. I sometimes use higher dimensional language as a spiritual metaphor. God is the ultimate reality within which time, existence, and possibility are held. That's metaphor, not physics. My short answer is personal and provisional. I use God to name the reality I trust is deeper than all temporary realities. For me, faith isn't a laboratory measurement. It's trust that reality may be intelligible, that life may possess value, that our choices may matter beyond immediate advantage. You don't have to reach the same conclusion. In fact, I think using God merely to plug holes in scientific knowledge diminishes both faith and science. As science advances, those gaps change. But science shouldn't be stretched in the opposite direction either. Science is extraordinarily powerful at investigating measurable reality. That doesn't automatically establish that measurable reality is all that can exist. So perhaps the most intellectually responsible answer remains, we don't know. But that isn't where I want to leave the question, because something extraordinary has happened. Whatever the ultimate explanation, something exists. There is matter, energy, space, stars, planets, life, wood, hands, memory, grief, laughter, other minds, you, me. And somewhere in that unfolding reality, matter became organized in ways capable of experiencing reality itself. We became conscious enough to ask, why? And then something else happened. We began creating. A thought could become a tool. A memory could become a story. An idea could become a bridge. Knowledge could pass from one mind to another and become the starting point for something that had never existed before. This is the thread I want us to keep watching through these riddles. Reality contains possibility. Consciousness experiences it. Choice narrows it. Creativity gives it form. Connection allows it to multiply. And responsibility guides what we choose to multiply. We are going to test that idea rather than simply assume it's true. But our first riddle gives us somewhere to begin. I don't need to solve existence before I value it. Perhaps wonder isn't an escape from responsibility. Properly held, wonder may be where responsibility begins. Because if existence is astonishing rather than disposable, perhaps we begin treating the realities around us differently. Other people stop becoming scenery. Life matters, future generations matter, and what we choose to create matters. Before closing each riddle, I ask our AI orchestra to challenge what we've said. Atlas reminds us that the evidence strongly supports an early, hot, dense universe and subsequent expansion, but doesn't resolve the ultimate origin of reality. Prometheus warns us that saying, something came from nothing, claims more than cosmology currently establishes. Loki asks the uncomfortable question, why assume reality itself must satisfy our demand for an explanation? Sage insists that we keep three things separate: what science establishes, what philosophy argues, and what I personally believe. And Murden's ruling? The mystery remains open. Wonder can guide responsibility, but wonder cannot substitute for evidence. So I won't close our first riddle with an answer. I'll leave you with another question. Perhaps the mystery isn't only, why is there something rather than nothing? Perhaps it's also, now that something exists, what will you do with your small power to shape it? I'm TRemers. This was Riddle 1. Next Sunday, we'll take the next step. Is God the source of reality, or the name we give its deepest mystery?